Good evening, everyone. Just came back from watching Dark of the Moon. I'm trying to actually gather my thoughts to see exactly what I looked at because, upon first impression, I think it's better than the second movie, which was just, it had too many errors. There's a lot of errors in this one as well, but I had a feeling it was somewhere in between part 1 and part 2. So let's have a look. I mean, it wasn't as good as part 1, but it was definitely much, much better than part 2. So I don't know. It's something I'm gonna have to think about. I'm probably gonna put up my thoughts on on the movie itself as well. But until I do that, let's have a look at Ironhide. This is a Voyager class figure, and it is the only Ironhide figure that I actually own from any of the movie lines. Honestly speaking, the alt mode is really nice from the top, but it's always had too much undercarriage. I mean, from the big weapons from in the first one to just a whole bunch of robot parts sticking out underneath it, it was just too much for me. And from what I've seen so far, I think that part is pretty less in this figure. Then again, I haven't seen a review of it yet, so I don't know. Plus, if when I was actually looking at this in the store, the finishing on the toy itself looked pretty good. I mean, if you look at it, it has got some very nice paint apps, especially on the legs, with the silver, and it's got the gold and the brake lights. Even on the hips and the chest, it's got good paint apps. So this is kind of also why I decided to take it, because if you compare it to Megatron, which is pretty bland in color, that's another big point about the movie Megatron. Anyway, no spoilers, no spoilers. I will definitely talk about the movie, but Ironhide. Okay, so the packaging itself, typical packaging for the Voyager class. You get all the details inside showing. You get the actual mech tech figure, and if you press on it, you can see what it does as well, which is again, it's cool. No bio, just like everything else. What does it got? It says Ironhide saved the best mech-tech weapon for himself. Now he needs a Decepticon target. Okay, so it's Ironhide that's actually making all the mech-tech weapons and giving it to the Decepticons too? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's a completely different thing. I really do not like the fact that you don't get a bio anymore. And okay, fine, maybe it's the third movie. Everyone knows who he is, weapon specialist, blah blah blah. So maybe this is why not they're not doing it. But it's still nice. I mean, people who are just getting into the Transformers line from this movie, they should kind of know what they're doing, what they're getting. You get some beautiful pictures here, and I was actually pretty happy about this because the picture of Ironhide that you see at the back is the same thing that you see in the actual figure itself. So it's not like Megatron and where you don't end up getting the same colors. The character is pretty true from the artwork to the actual figure itself. Alright, that's it for the packaging. Let's get it open and see what he's like. Okay, so here we have Ironhide out of his packaging, and I've got to tell you, he looks good. He looks very accurate to his screen counterpart. The paintwork on him is really nicely done. I like how the black kind of mismatches and contrasts against the gold and red parts, paint apps that we have. He looks good, honestly, and the proportions are fairly accurate as well. Not entirely to the movie, but to the figure itself. I mean, if you look at it, forget the top half. If you look at just the bottom half, that is very neat, very tidy, very sleek, beautifully done. Honestly speaking, beautifully done. Now the top half with this whole chest piece and everything, this is typical Ironhide in any case. So, there's no way in hell we can go against this guy for having something like this. The head sculpt, let me show you, is done very nicely. I hope you guys can see that, but it's done very nice. He's got blue eyes, he's got gold paint apps, he's got a silver chin, and, he's very nice. Very, very nice. The only thing that I don't like from the robot mode is his arms. And let me tell you why. I haven't transformed this guy, and I know this has got to do with the transformation, but if you look at his arms, he has no shoulders. His whole arm is joined to the body through the elbow. Now, this is something that just doesn't work for me. Okay, fine, it gives you 360 articulation, but come on, this does not work. So just kind of have to pose it down this way, so it kind of looks like the top of the arms are going underneath this. But still, I mean, this is a big drawback in terms of looks for me. It's just, how can you have an arm that's connected to the body through the elbow? I don't know. Just because of that, you actually don't even have any articulation in the elbow, so his hand is just constantly straight. So how is he going to do anything with his hands? It's just literally just straight up and down. Anyway, the toy itself is actually pretty good. The figure, I like the way he looks. He's got good balance. And again, if you look at it, forget these wings part. I'm sure there's something we can do in terms of posing them, getting them out of the way. But he doesn't have any kibble. This is something that, Dark of the Moon has improved a lot over the other figures, is kibble factor. And just Transformers in general, I've seen here with the Dark of the Moon figures, is that the kibble factor is reduced a lot. So, yeah. I would definitely want to have a look more into this figure itself in terms of how he transforms. The robot mode is really good. Along with the robot mode itself, you get the mech tech weapon. This is actually done pretty nicely. You have the paint apps that are inside. You've got the little orange parts. You've got a different color of plastic here as compared to here. You've got the black and you've got the silver. So one mech tech weapon, they've given you 4 different colors. Woohoo! Now, again, there's no locking mechanism, but it's okay because with this one you don't need a locking mechanism. It's just literally you push on this part here. This part will come out and spin. And the more you do it, the faster it goes. So, not bad. This is a pretty nice mech tech weapon. Probably one of the best ones that I've seen. It actually does something apart from just extend. You also get the typical warning sheet. This time they say about your house burning down, actually says it is a choking hazard. So please be careful when you transform. And you get the instruction sheet. Same as before, like all the Dark of the Moon, you actually get from robot to alt mode, and then on the back of the thing you'll get it from alt mode to robot mode. So there you go. That's what you actually get with the figure once you get it open. So if we can do a few size comparisons, let's start off with his counterpart. Well, not really counterpart, but his partner in crime. Here we have Dark of the Moon Megatron. Now they're both Voyager size, and you can see they're approximately the same size. Ironhide does look a little bit bigger. That's simply because of the doors acting like wings on the back. So that's why he looks a little bit bigger. Otherwise, they're about the same size. Now something that's a little bit older, something that we all have. Again, we have Classics or Universe Acid Storm. So you can see he is much bigger. Definitely a Voyager over a Deluxe. And this is a completely different line. But again, this was supposed to be a Voyager class in that line. Here we have Animated Skywarp. So you can see there's another huge difference. But that's okay. This kind of figure is also nice. If they've done actually some work in it in terms of the painting and the engineering, then I don't mind the size being a little bit smaller. Okay, so for articulation on this guy, his head is on a ball joint, so it does wobble, and it will turn 360. The arms, and I hate to say this, but they do swivel 360 at the elbow. I can't believe I just said that, but they move. Waist joint, there is none. Legs, they go out very nice. He can do literally the splits. They can go up, not too far, and it's mainly because his side skirt, or I guess that's a side skirt, armor piece gets stuck on his waist. Going back, he does go back. Ooh, and I like this. It's the first toy I've seen from Dark of the Moon that actually has a ratcheting sound, but he does go back quite far. And let's hear the ratchet sound again. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so that's his there. And for his legs, very nice. So he gets a very nice bend on his knees. Now I'm assuming again that's gonna fold up because of his transformation. But robot mode, he has some pretty good articulation in him. Ooh, balance is a little bit of an issue. Nope, it's okay. Alright, let's try and hide his arms. For his mech tech weapon, Now, he does have a port on his back where you could technically store the weapon if you wanted to, but it just looks weird sticking out from the back. He can actually hold it. This peg over here will snugly fit into his wrist. Now, you have to be just a little bit careful on how it goes, because this part will hit against this part, so you have to be a little bit careful in how you place it, I guess. Now, the only problem with this is weight. If you keep your hand straight like this, it is going to fall down. And that's just simply because the weight of the mech tech weapon is too much for the joints over there to hold it up. You are gonna have to turn it up like this somehow and do it this way. This way, what happens is the arm piece or part of the mech tech weapon will kind of rest against the chest or the wheel, so it gives it more friction, gives it more balance. Now, the only problem is that it does look like it's pointing off to the side, so you are gonna have to, be some kind of special pose or just something that he's, kind of being cool, or anyway, you get the idea. So articulation wise, he's not bad at all. I like the way he is. The only gripe is these arms. Alright, let's see how this guy transforms. So the transformation for Ironhide isn't the most complicated one, but it does have a couple of finicky parts. And I've actually liked the way they've done a couple of the engineering for the transformation. Basically what we want to do is, first off, we come back to the side. We lift up the top part of the cab so it reveals the lumbar system. We take here and we straighten it out, so we make the side of the cabs. Same thing on the other side, we just lift it out, nice and easy. And then we want to take the whole top section of the cab and fold it out, leaving a big gap where the whole chest was. And the reason for this is because this part is going to become the cab front section, obviously. And they've got a very nice way of doing this. They connect the two parts of the chest with this one piece over here. So that's how it kind of folds up together. And if you lift it up, the whole thing becomes nicely the front part of the cab. And then we can just swivel a little bit of the wheels on either side till we get the wheels out of the way, and we can actually lock in the front part. Now, these two pieces are going to become the front parts of the bumpers. The only question is, how do you get the arms in a position to do that? This is a little bit on the tricky side, but basically there's a couple of swivel points. Now, there's a black piece swivel joint here and a gray piece here, and these parts will obviously connect together. The way we want to get it down is we have to position it so this black piece, if you can see, there's the edge that's going out this way. This part is going away from the wheel on which side it's on. Once that happens, then you can literally just bring it down here so the arm is on this side and the peg of the arm is sticking outside. This just goes in here this way, and then we can plug these parts in here, just like that. Now, if you can see, there's a hole in here and a hole here, which corresponds with this peg and this peg, and it's the exact same situation. I know the wheel is popped off, which is okay because it's a very weak joint. I can actually show you. It just goes on that way. And then the same thing on this side. We put it down this way, like that. Plug it all in. Oops. Make sure they have a secure connection. And there we go. The front part is completely done. And then we can come in and put them in. The way this works is the actual mechanism part, the black part, just kind of slides in there. You can see there's a slide joint over there. And the wheel itself has a circular part, which just nicely, snugly fits in. And there you go. Now, these connections here for the wheels are a little loose, so just be on the careful side when you do them. Now, if we come down to the bottom side of the figure, I kind of like how they've used the whole side of the back part of the cab to be over here. I love how they've done this. First thing you have to do is just unpeg it from here, and you can fold the whole thing out and plug it in at the back. So you can see they made it kind of nice. And then just straighten it out so you get the whole side of the cab. Let's do the same thing on this side. First thing you want to do is unpeg, straighten it out, connect, and then just kind of swivel it so it's all down the side of the leg. Nice and easy. Then we come down to the back side, and the whole foot we can just push back up just like that. Alright, let's do the same thing on this side. Basically, we just lift up the foot and make it the leg. Now, you would assume that you kind of connect them together, but not quite yet. What you need to do is first, you can put this down a little bit. You'll see there's a peg there and a hole here. And what's going to happen is when you lift these to connect them together, they will connect just there. Now before you do that, we need to make sure that we swivel his legs. Now at the hip, we can move the legs so that this golden piece is facing down. Like that. And the reason for this is that once we actually connect, we want to make sure that his legs can be folded down. Like that. Alright? So again, the same thing. We can see that the golden piece is there. So we just swivel it at the hip, and then we can bring the leg piece down. And now we can connect him. Actually, you know what? Not even yet. The next thing we have to do is we lift his legs like that. Now you saw there's a swivel and rotation at the knee itself. And just like that. To make this part of the cab. Same thing on this side. Just like that. Now, there's one piece here. You can just take that out. And there you go. Becomes the back of the cab. Same thing. Take this part out. Just like that. And there you pretty much have the whole thing done. Now we just have to put it together. Now this waist piece, just make sure you push this down a little bit so that it connects nicely over here. There's no peg system or anything like that, but it just goes underneath it rather than going on top of it and getting in the way. So just to finish it off, we make sure that the windshield part is there. We lift up these pieces and we just bring him in and kind of plug him in. There's ports and pegs that'll help him put them together. Just like that. Same thing on this side. Just like that. There you go. And there you have it. Now, you know, honestly speaking, in my opinion, this is probably the best Ironhide figure from the movie series that we have out. For the simple reason, the undercarriage. You have a little bit of the legs over here showing, but that's it. Honestly speaking, you put it down here like this, you've got no idea there's anything happening. It's fantastic the way they've done it. It's exactly like the movie in terms of colors. Proportion wise, it's fantastic. There's no undercarriage that's really sticking out badly like in the previous versions. I mean, it's done very, very nicely. There's no complaints whatsoever. You also get the MechTech weapon, which you can plug in the port over here. Probably the most common place where everyone's going to put it. And there you go. That's Ironhide. You do get a port over here, as well as a port over here. So you can plug in this mech-tech weapon anywhere there. You also have two things here, which are technically not really for the mech-tech weapon, but I'm wondering... No, not enough clearance. So that you have actually get 3 ports where you can plug in the mech-tech weapon. I would highly advise anyone who likes the character Ironhide, who likes pickup trucks, who likes this figure in general, definitely get the Dark of the Moon version. It's much neater, much cleaner. The paint apps are nice. The end product is nice. The plastic that they've used is nice, you know? It's a good figure. It's a really, really good figure. Definitely worth getting. Alright, this is Ace, and I will see you at the next review.